Hello, Zarmina and I are back with the last installment of the Edward Red Mage mystery, Snowblind. Thank you all for waiting. Real life tends to get a little complicated around here. And that's why it took me an extra week to get to finish this. I'm going to pick up roundabout where we left off the last time. If you recall, Cobbler had just said, "So, forest peddlers robbing the dead." "Without a doubt," I said. "What else he's done, we don't know yet for sure. Now put his things away. You lads shouldn't have touched him to begin with, but what's done is done. Don't say anything to Peddler when he comes back from hunting. I don't want him feeling trapped in here and perhaps harming the ladies. I have a nasty suspicion about this fellow, and I'd like to deal with him my own way." "Wait," said Cobbler. "What the hell do you mean, deal with him, beer wizard? All you can do is brew potions, read, and scribble. You're going to bore him into a confession?" I resisted the urge to hit Cobbler. "I'm going to fight him," I began. "Fight him?" Cobbler laughed. "You can't even hunt deer. How are you going to fight a murderer?" "Are you offering to do it?" I asked. Cobbler said nothing. "Just as I thought," I said. "I do have a plan. Charity, you wear enough jewelry for 3 women. Do you have any heavy silver bracelets in your trove?" "Bracelets?" Charity repeated. "Doesn't have to be bracelets, just has to be silver," Mother Alice said. "Am I right, wizard?" she asked, turning to me. "If my suspicions are correct," I began. "What suspicions?" Lucas demanded. "If you know what he's up to, tell us." "Yes, tell us," Cobbler said. The others crowded around me. I hadn't wanted to share my unproven fears, and either start a panic if they believed me, or look a fool if they didn't. "You think he's a werewolf, don't you?" Mother Alice asked. "Oh, what?" James said. "Are you joking?" Cobbler scoffed. Charity just looked ill. "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard," Cobbler continued. "A werewolf? There hasn't been a werewolf in this kingdom since the days of St. Corwin, and that's what, 400 years ago. Besides, Bloody Sky's been overcast the entire time we've been stuck here. Not to mention the moon was full before we even came to the inn. Should be bloody half by now, if anything. You're the wizard, sitting there with your books, and you don't even know what day of the month it is?" "Day of the month doesn't matter. The moon only affects werewolves who were turned by being bitten," I countered. "Something I learned from my fancy books. If someone is born a werewolf, they can learn to change whenever they choose. Did anyone get a good look at that one big black wolf the other night? Pretty sure it was missing an eye." "There are no werewolves east of the mountains," Cobbler continued stubbornly. "Forrest was from the west," Charity said softly. "Over the mountains. He told me so, and he's the hairiest man I've ever known. Even on the palms of his hands and the soles of his feet. Edward, I have a silver neck ring. What do you want to do with it?" First God's Day, Tanis month. I'm not sure how we managed to get through last night without letting Peddler know we suspected him. I was sure he could see right through me, half blind or not. I was ready to hit the ceiling every time he looked at my way with that one eye. Charity utterly refused to go anywhere near him again. I had to make a big show of hiring her for the night to keep him away from her. Not that I touched her. I would rather take a vow of lifelong celibacy than even kiss someone who'd lain with a werewolf. I'm sure I'm an idiot. The plan we made is terrible, especially for me, but I can't back out now. If this is the last entry I ever make in this journal, I hope it's because I'm dead, not because I've been turned into a werewolf. "Hey, peddler," I called out as I set down my quill. "Take me with you. I'll eat my boots before I'll eat another rabbit or squirrel. Maybe I can help drive a deer to you." He raised his eyebrow at me and squinted. "You're up early," he said. "Couldn't sleep," I said. That was true. Too hungry. That wasn't. I was too nervous. Peddler shrugged. "Well, if you're coming, come, and be quiet." I put on every extra layer of clothing I could, taking special care to muffle my throat, and followed him out into the ever-present snow. He led me away from the inn and down into a ravine lined with naked gray trees. What little of my face was exposed to the air was miserable, cold, and damp. If I thought about it, I would have welcomed the damp. It meant the weather was finally getting warmer. I had actually started to sweat inside my layers of clothes when Peddler finally stopped, indicating for me to stand with my back against an immense ash tree. "You wait here," he said. "Take the bow. I'll track down the deer and drive it past you." If I had agreed to this, it would surely have been the last stupid thing I ever did. "You want me to stand here alone?" I asked. "Yes." "And you're giving the bow to me?" "Yes." "Because you know good and well I can't use it, and you and your friends don't need it to kill me." "Yes." My heart was pounding as I said it. "Kill you?" "Kill me," I said, suddenly lightheadedly brave for having spoken. "Fetch your pack out here to tear me to bits, just like they did with the others." I couldn't stop the defiant flow of words now if I tried. I should have seen sooner. No normal wolf pack singles out the strong instead of the weak, or attacks large groups, or slaughters everyone in an inn and then joins a party of new victims heading here. But a highwayman will. "Are you saying that I'm a highwayman?" asked Peddler. His voice was still calm. He dropped his bow, though, and pulled off his gloves, as if preparing to slap me with them. "We have proof," I said, hands behind my back, as I reached cautiously for the weapon tucked in my belt. "Charity found the brooch she'd given Gerald in your pack. Then we found Alf's St. Deborah medallion." "And you think I've got a pack of thieves hidden in this frozen wasteland?" he asked me. "Not thieves," I said. "Wolves." He gave a short, sharp laugh. "You think I'm telling the wolves to attack?" "Yes." "You've lost your mind, wizard. Mind telling me how I even talk to these wolf friends of mine? I admit it'd be a useful skill." "You can talk to them because you're one of them." I drew my knife, and he flung his cloak in my face. I'd expected Peddler to change. I hadn't expected to have it to happen so quickly. By the time I'd got the damn cloak off my head, he transformed. A huge, black, one-eyed wolf, trailing Peddler's clothes, leapt at me, and he knocked me onto my back. I thrust his own cloak between his fangs to protect my face, and slashed with what had once been Charity's neck ring. I heard a sharp hiss as the rough silver blade struck, burning hair and flesh. The wolf pulled back with a cry of pain. I took the moment to wind the cloak around my arm as a shield. He charged again. I raised my forearm, and he bit down. I cried out. Even through the cloak, the force of his bite was crushing. I could hear wolves barking in the distance. I hoped I could also hear men approaching. If Cobbler and the apprentices didn't reach me before the wolf pack did, I was dog food. I fumbled with the silver blade, trying to stab something vital. The wolf let go of my padded arm and grabbed the one with the knife. Crack! Snap! My right forearm broke under the force of the wolf's bite. I dropped the silver knife and shut my eyes, sure I was about to die. "Get off me, bastard!" I shouted, wishing I had the strength to keep fighting and fling the beast off me before he went for my throat. And suddenly, the weight on my chest was gone. I heard a thud and a miserable howl nearby. I opened one eye. The wolf was lying against the trunk of a large tree, yelping. As I sat up, cradling my broken arm, I saw him scrabbling with his front paws to rise. "Hey, Eddie!" I heard Lucas calling to me. "Oi! Beer wizard!" Cobbler and the boys were running towards us as quickly as they could through the icy slush. "What the hell did you do to that thing?" I turned back to the wolf, my arm throbbing with each beat of my heart. The animal had gotten his front legs under him, but his hind end dragged limply behind him. "You broke his damn back," James crowed. "How'd you do that? We saw him flying. Was it magic?" I had moved things with my mind before, but throwing a wolf into a tree with enough force to break its back? I don't know. I stood up too quickly. My head swam. The last thing I saw before I fainted was Cobbler, picking up the silver knife I'd dropped and charging the crippled wolf, shouting, "This is for Jack Smith, you murdering son of a bitch!" Third Scott Day, Ariel's month, 37th year of Harold IV. The wrappings came off my arm today, and I can write again. I spent all this time while my arm healed at Master Wulfric's. It began raining the day that we killed Peddler. 3 days later, the rest of us were in Trader's Pass. Cobbler sold the property he'd come to claim and returned to Bellcamp weeks ago. The apprentices and I will be heading home soon. Charity will stay behind. She joined Mother Alice at the convent after all. Mother Alice came to visit me yesterday. Apparently, Charity is carrying a child, and Mother Alice wondered if it might be mine. I told her no. I only pretended to take her to bed that one time. The baby is probably Gerald Tinker's, since she'd been with him the longest. Still, we aren't sure. I grew up with 6 sisters, most of whom are married now with babes of their own. I know more than most single men about women, especially pregnant women. And I know they do like to eat odd things, but until Charity, I'd never heard of one that craved raw meat.